And in the studio today, we have Elliott coming all the way from the United States, from North Dakota, and she's going to be sharing with us a little bit of her faith journey. Good morning to you, Elliott. Great to have you here. So, Elliott, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, tell us a little bit about your family, and what you're doing here in Australia.
So right now I'm in Australia because I'm in the Arise program, which is a 13-week discipleship program. At home, this is my first time being away from home. I'm 19. I graduated high school last May, so this is kind of my first big adventure. But at home, I have my parents and 2 sisters, and that's kind of...
Okay, very good. Well, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. So did you grow up in a Christian home? Tell us a little bit about, your growing up.
So I grew up in an Adventist home. Both my parents, my mom was raised Adventist. My dad became when he was like 19 or so. So I grew up, I had a firm biblical foundation.
Okay.
I was like 2 years old when I decided. I remember my mom asking me if I wanted to welcome Jesus into my heart. And so that was the moment I was like, yeah.
Wow, at 2 years old, that's amazing. So how was that life growing up with Jesus for you? So were you any different from, let's say, your other kids, your other friends at school? Tell me a little bit about the impact that growing up with Jesus made in your life.
Yeah, from a young age, I definitely understood even the importance of prayer in my life. And I can remember having prayers answered for me, like being super young, like 9 years old, and I would pray for things. One example I can think of, I loved going to summer camp as a kid, and one year my cousin got hit by a firework, and she wasn't going to be able to attend with me, and she had like really bad burns on her chest. So I'd just been praying. I was like, Jesus, please let her come to camp with me, because it was like a big no-no. She was not going to be able to go. And the day we went to get dropped off, they all came with us to drop us off, and then they were like, yeah, I guess Aubriana can stay with you and go to camp with you. So I was young, but I knew that if I prayed, Jesus was there to answer my prayers.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about growing up. So have you ever had any moment that you let go of the hand of Jesus, so to speak, that you said, you know what, you're starting questioning a little bit? Because I think that everybody has at some point to come to the faith for themselves. One thing's like, oh yeah, that's the faith of my parents, of my family. That's what we do as a family. But have you ever had those questions popping through your mind, or not really?
So honestly, I never doubted, and how do I start? As a kid, I loved learning about the Bible. I was in the Bible stories, and I wanted to know everything, and I took pride and knowing more than everyone else.
That's so classic.
Yeah.
You're in the church trivia,
everything. And my favorite thing, probably around 10, 11, 12 years old, I would attend other denominations like vacation Bible schools, and my goal would be to stump their staff members with hard questions. And so I took great pride in everything I knew at a young age, and I kind of carried that along with me. So once I went into 7th grade. This was my first year it was a non-denominational Christian school, and both my parents started working there, and my siblings went there, so all of us were at this school together. And all my Bible teachers, my 7th grade year, my Bible teacher was part of Assembly of God Church. 8th grade, my Bible teacher was a Missouri Synod Lutheran, so he was very, hardcore, and he would challenge us a lot. And one day, he was coming with us with again, this is non-denominational, so they're not supposed to push their church's specific views, things like communion. And one day he was trying to push consubstantiation and transubstantiation on us. And my dad is our campus chaplain. And I was like, this isn't right. He's not allowed to be doing this stuff. So I'm he can't be pushing on us saying that this is true. So I marched down to my dad's office. I'm like, bro, he's telling us these things, but he's not allowed to do that. So sure enough, my dad takes this to the rest of administration, and they're like, okay, sir, you're not allowed to be teaching these things, and he quit.
Wow. What an environment. For those who don't know, consubstantiation, transubstantiation, we're talking about communion, and this was and I love that it's a debate that has raged out all time, but it's a debate that literally during the Reformation, people would die over this kind of thing. People would be killed over their opinion on this particular thing. But you're at school, and
I'm 14, and I'm like, he's not allowed to be doing this, and I took so much pride cried and that he went and quit.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is awesome. Like I'm doing the Lord's work here. So after that, my dad ended up becoming the Bible teacher for like pretty much the rest of my high school. And like he's avid, so he just helped build my faith. But so again, I went and I had this very arrogant, prideful mindset, like I know everything. And I took that along with me in the rest of my life to the point where I thought I was like the best at everything. I was an avid like runner, basketball player.
I'm looking at you, jumper, you know, North Dakota State Track and Field Championships. So you're in the championships. You're at a high level of sport.
So I was I competed highly, and again I took that along with me. Like I really did think I was the best at anything, and like I never like doubted in God's existence, but I started to rely on myself a lot.
Wow.
And so going into my 10th grade year of high school, like I just had an awesome like first year of high school. Like I'm competing with the best, I'm winning, I'm doing all this stuff, having a great time. And at the beginning of the school year, I got sick with COVID, a strep infection, and a sinus infection.
Wow.
And it wiped me out, and it ended up having a ton of other health issues. So I was out of school for the whole year.
Really?
I got super sick, like with just a bunch of different, like my adrenals crashed, all sorts of different health issues. So I was bedridden for a year. I couldn't do anything that I was known to be doing. I wasn't able to like hang out with friends. I wasn't able to compete. I wasn't able to show off like I wanted to.
That would be a very difficult moment for any person, but particularly a teenager going through all of that. Like losing the entire high school year on account of a disease that is completely out of your control. Yeah. So how did your faith help you, or in that situation, what were your thought processes? What kind of came through your mind?
That's when I learned how to rely on Jesus. Those were the like I'm a very like extroverted, outgoing, like hanging out with people, and I was by myself all day, every day, and I just knew like these were the moments like I clinged to Jesus to keep me just sane. Like I never spent that much time alone, and it showed me how to trust in God, but also a lot of self-refinement happened in that time. And specifically,
can you give us some examples?
Yeah, specifically, I remember like, because this is like, I'm hardcore study. I have nothing else to do. I can barely get out of bed, so I might as well study my Bible and really build my relationship.
If we can all think like that when we're sick, right?
That's right.
You know, like not putting the movies on, but getting into the Word.
Well, let me reverse real quick. So growing up, my mom was sick like this for 7 years.
Wow.
And so I remember being young, and she would tell me, Elliott, you're going to go through hard things when you grow up. And I was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen to me.
That's not me.
And so this is when I realized, like, that's what she said, like, you need to cling to Jesus. But in that time, it was also great self-refinement, like I said. I don't remember the exact passage, but I've been reading through Proverbs, and it was something just along, like, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, Jesus or God doesn't like the prideful, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, that's me.
So you're having this time of reflection, and you said there that there was, particularly when you were sick, getting into the Word, self-refinement. Scaffi was asking, examples. Like, what did you think that you saw during that particular time that kind of put you onto maybe a different path out of arrogance and pride and self-reliance to reliance on Christ?
I realized I can't do everything on my own. I can't control everything I want to control, and it just realized like not everything is in my control. I can't make a path for the way I want. I need Jesus to do it for me. And this is when I really cultivated my relationship and like starting a prayer life and like everything, and just wanting to be able to share it with others. And I still deal with like health stuff, but I know that in times of like doubt and stuff, I can just rely on God.
Yes. And so what happened? So after this 1 year, tell us a little bit about your recovery. What happened? What changed? How was like coming back to school? You probably lost your cohort of peers. You know, you're in a different class. So tell us a little bit about what happened after that whole year.
So the next year, I gotta think. I was really excited to like start competing again. So this is going into my 11th grade year of high school. And I was excited to go run and play basketball and do all my sports again. And I just couldn't the way I used to.
Okay,
I wasn't competing as well as I used to. But that just showed me again that I'm not as good of a person and as good at everything as I thought I was. And it was really just a big period of growth. Yeah.
And a lot of people would really be, kind of depressed and knowing and perhaps lose hope and feel helpless. So once you realize, once your mind is saying, you see, you're not as competitive anymore, you're not as effective, you're not as a good runner or basketball player anymore. What would happen inside of your mind? What would be the counteracting thoughts that God would be giving to you, if any, in that circumstance?
There was definitely a time I felt like I lost all hope. Because I got sick in August, give or take, and going into I'd really not done anything through that whole rest of the year and going into January, and I just felt alone. I knew God was there, but I really wanted personable interactions with other people, and I was nobody's really reaching out to me. Where are all my friends? Where's everybody? And I remember it was beginning of January, and I was just praying. I was like, God, does anybody even care? Is anybody here? I know you're here, but does anybody else care? And then a few hours later, I get this big text message from one of my friends. He's like, how are you doing? Are you okay? And I was like, oh, God's working. He'll do what I need. He is taking care. He sees what I need. I need, yeah. And he was just there. And so that really boosted up my hope and faith, and just that was a moment where I knew God was taking care of me. And that's when most of my doubts and depressions and hopelessness went away, when I knew just that little that text message changed my outlook on everything.
Wow, that's amazing. And so tell us a little bit about what are your outlooks for the future, Elliott? So what are you looking forward? You're very young and you have lots of plans, and you've got a lot of experience under your belt as well. So what are some future plans for you?
So I'm going to be going home in just a couple weeks after Rise is finished, and my plans this summer, because we're going into summer, I'll be working because I'm getting ready to go back to university in August. And
do you know what you would like to study?
So I'm going to be studying biology. I have a few different ideas for afterwards, either I'm toying between physical therapy or chiropractics.
Okay, so you're looking forward to come back, and what is one experience from Australia, one big learning that you'd like to take with you back to the U.S.?
Really showing other people the love of Christ in my everyday life, and just we've learned how to witness and outreach, and I just want to put these things into how I live daily, whether I'm at work, I work with kids in the summer. It's not an Advent, but just a day camp, just showing these kids, showing anybody I'm around that I can just be an influence to them, or outreach to them. I've just become more confident in that ability, and I just want to continue to cultivate it.
Absolutely. Elliott, thank you so much for sharing your story with us this morning here on the radio. We really hope that, I believe that your story will empower, will inspire a lot of people that perhaps are going through similar circumstance. And even though you went through some big difficulties, one thing that you said that I loved is that you could feel that God was there with you. He was caring for you. And even in those moments where you're praying, God would somehow show up and he will remind you of his love for you. And now you want to do exactly the same, but for other people. Exactly. Thank you so much.